Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about the Saints starting a new quarterback. And we're also going to be talking about COVID-19 running rampant around the Saints facility. But thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying your holiday. I'm recording this as of right now on Christmas Eve. So I hope you're enjoying your Christmas Eve. Those that are out there probably traveling or probably just, trying to find the destination, still trying to find that right gift for that special someone. Hope you're having a good morning, noon, night, whenever you're checking this out. But I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now, according to a lot of reports, the Saints had to go in a different direction at the quarterback position. Both Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill have found themselves on the COVID-19 list, as well as several other New Orleans Saints players who I have right here. Players like Jordan Mills, Christian Ringo, Malcolm Jenkins, Jalen Holmes, Caden Ellis, Jeff Heath. I mean, so many different New Orleans Saints players, rather they play on special teams, they're starters like Malcolm Jenkins. They find themselves on a COVID-19 list. So I guess you can say when it rains, it definitely pours this season when it comes to the New Orleans Saints. I mean, I have never seen a team that just gets bad news left and right. It just seems like this team has to continue to overcome some level of adversity each and every week. I really just don't know when I wake up in the morning what type of news I'm going to get when it comes to the New Orleans Saints. When things are quiet, I'm like, but most times, more times than not, they're not. We've been bombarded as fans with bad news from this team, but the New Orleans Saints still weather the storm. They still go out there and they try to be as competitive as possible. And speaking of, being competitive, the New Orleans Saints, they have a tall task taking on the Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football, a team that is red hot, that has won 6 straight games. And they're going to have to do it with a brand new quarterback, Ian Book, due to Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill landed on the COVID-19 list, is going to be starting in this game on Monday Night Football. Now, some members of the Who Dat Nation are probably over the hills excited about this situation. And, from a news standpoint, if you follow the New Orleans Saints, I'm pretty sure you're very happy about this news that been coming out week after week when it comes to New Orleans Saints. I mean, this probably has been the most newsworthy year I can remember when it comes to the team. So there's always something to write about. It's something always to talk about. And this is no exception. I mean, Ian Book is a guy that a lot of people look at as being a quarterback that could have went in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft, but he ended up going into the 4th round. A lot of that has something to do with his height. I mean, I really honestly believe that he's about 6 feet tall, 5'11", maybe. I'm not sure. I think that had a lot to do with the fact of his draft positioning, but Ian Book is a winner. He has over 30 wins in college at Notre Dame, a very prestigious university. He is second all time in touchdown passes with 72. Now, just think about all of the great quarterbacks that came out of Notre Dame, and this guy is number 2 on the list, and he's number 1 and the most winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history. I mean, that is a rich tradition there in Notre Dame, and for him to be number 1 and number 2 on those lists and statistical categories tells you a lot about Ian Book. The guy's a leader. He's been a leader on that Notre Dame team. He has a lot of starts. I think he has 45 starts playing at Notre Dame over 4 years. And now, he gets a huge opportunity. I mean, going to get your first start on Monday Night Football. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. Now, normally I would say that, maybe like Ian Book would be a tad bit nervous, being in prime time. But, the advantage that Ian Book actually had, that he has, is the fact that, Notre Dame home games, all of them are on NBC. I mean, it's nationally televised. I mean, that's one of the advantages of going to Notre Dame. No matter where you live at or around the country, your family still would be able to check you out on NBC. So this guy had an opportunity, to play on a national stage every Saturday. And not to mention, he's been in the college football playoffs. Even though Notre Dame wasn't successful, he still got opportunities to play on a big stage. So I think that him coming and becoming a starter on Monday Night Football, I think that the lights won't be as bright as some young rookies may be for them. But Ian Book is a guy that I have a lot of faith in. There was a couple of things that I seen that he needed to clean up in preseason. But one thing that I really liked about Ian Book was his ability to run the screen. And I think the Saints, that's something that they do best. I mean, they're a really good screen team. When I seen a couple screens that he did in preseason, I thought that he probably ran the screen better than most of the quarterbacks on the team. That's including Jameis Winston. So I think that Ian Book has some room to improve. Of course, he's young, but I like the fact that he can move around in the pocket. I think they're going to come up with an offensive game plan that kind of suits him. And also, I think that defense is going to help him out. I think that this is a good time for the New Orleans Saints. If we can find a silver lining in these dark clouds that have been over the Saints facility all season long, this one thing that you can say, all of these quarterbacks that are on the roster are going to have opportunity to go out there and start. You really don't have situations like this. It's always surrounded by what ifs. What if this guy got the opportunity? What if this guy goes out there and he performs better than the starting quarterback or the backup? What happens if he actually dressed? Well, you don't have to worry about what ifs anymore when it comes to Ian Book. You don't have to worry about what ifs when it comes to Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston. All of these guys had an opportunity or have an opportunity to go out there and play. And for us as a fan base and the Saints coaching staff to be able to look at these individuals and say, hey, you know what? I think we got something here, or I think we need to go in another direction. What do I expect from Ian Book? I expect for him to be pretty efficient. I expect for him to take what the defense gives him. I expect for him to go out there to try to make some plays with his feet. I expect for the Saints to do a few rollout plays for him just to get him a little bit, a little bit comfortable. But I expect for him to go out there and try to do the best that he possibly can. And it can't be any worse. I mean, you look at the New Orleans Saints statistically, they're at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to offense, when it comes to quarterback percentage, completion percentages, yards per attempt. I mean, they're dead last almost in every statistical category. So, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I mean, he goes out there and he plays bad. I think that we all can agree that we have seen some bad quarterback play at the quarterback position for the New Orleans Saints throughout the 2021 season. So I think he should go out there and just let it all hang out. I mean, this is a great opportunity for him. I mean, he's going up against a Miami Dolphins team that, even though, they've been winning games, they're pretty vulnerable. I mean, I can see some opportunities that the New Orleans Saints can have to actually, make it hard for the Miami Dolphins, even though they've been on this winning streak. Last week, they were down, I want to say 14 or 17-0 to the New York Jets. So, I mean, there are opportunities for the New Orleans Saints to capitalize on. And also, man, I'm just glad as of right now, as I'm doing this podcast, you don't really have guys like Alvin Kamara or Mark Ingram, that find themselves on the COVID-19 list. That would be very, very crucial and very, very tragic for the Saints offense. I think this young kid needs some guys that can back him up, some guys that can help in pass protection, guys that he can check the ball down to make plays. I think that Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara can do a really good job at doing that. So when I look at it, I think that with those two guys actually being in the backfield, being able to help them out, I think it's going to be a huge advantage. Also, I would like to see if Marquez Callaway can capitalize on that big game that he had versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, I'm pretty sure that his confidence is at an all-time high. I mean, you're going up against the world champions, and you had your best statistical game as a pro. You went over 100 yards. So I think that he's going to be able to take that momentum and maybe go into the next game. But, I mean, you still have some very tough, stiff competition out there in the secondary of the Miami Dolphins. They still got some really good cornerbacks out there. And those guys are going to be out there trying to make it tough for the New Orleans Saints receivers. But speaking of receivers, I definitely feel like these receivers need to step it up. I think that they need to help out the young guy. I'd be interested to see if the Saints would allow Easop Winston to actually get some snaps in this game consistently, because I've seen some chemistry between Easop Winston and Ian Book in a preseason. I mean, I've seen some plays where Ian Book checked it down to Easop Winston. I remember the 32-yard gain that they had versus the Baltimore Ravens. I also remember the screen pass that he threw to Easop. So I think Easop, you need to give him a few more opportunities. I think that he and Ian Book, they had a little bit of chemistry going through the preseason. So I expect for those guys to maybe, both of those guys being on the practice squad, probably getting some reps together, probably working together, behind the scenes. I want to see if those guys can actually do that in a regular season game. Also, Nick Vernett, I expect more out of him. There was that big play that he could have caught that pass. I want to say against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think that he could have went up and caught that pass, man. But, he ended up dropping it. Didn't really help out Taysom Hill in that regard. But I still think that Nick Vernett can be a valuable asset in the passing game. I mean, he's going to have to step up. I mean, Adam Troutman landed on the COVID-19 list. Jawan Johnson landing on the list. I mean, you're probably going to, get a guy off the practice squad. I want to say Griffin, probably get him off the practice squad to be the backup. But I want to see these guys actually step up and help out Ian Book. I mean, you got to help out these guys. Last week, your offense didn't score any touchdowns. All right. I mean, it was all field goals. And at least you want to be able to, sustain some drives. You want to get some first downs, right? You want to keep the clock going. You want to be able to allow your defense to rest up so they can go out there and make things hard for Tua Tagovailoa to go out there and make plays in the Miami Dolphins offense, to not be clicking, because you want to be able to just help out this defense. I mean, it was a really good performance last week. I expect for them to be able to, bring that momentum into the game versus Miami, but you still want to help them out, man. You had opportunities to look at the tape. You've seen the opportunities that you had to make plays. Let's go ahead and try to clean those things up. And let's try to get Alvin Kamara more involved. I mean, Alvin Kamara, what he had, about 18, 19 yards rushing. I mean, that's very very un-Alvin Kamara-like. Like this guy normally gets the ball 25 to 30 times a game, gets you about 150, 160 yards total offense. So you definitely don't want to leave this guy, on the outside looking in. You're definitely going to need him to be that offensive weapon for Ian Book, and also the offensive line. I don't know the status of Teron Armstead or Ryan Ramczyk. I don't know what's going on with those two guys. Both of those guys being hurt. Both of them are all pros. Both of those guys are Pro Bowl caliber and arguably, top two, top three at their position in the entire NFL. So if you can get at least one of those guys back, if you can't get both of them, I still think that it would be a huge advantage for Ian Book. You have a guy that can block you on the outside, and also be able to, spring the running game. So would like to see if those guys will be able to come back. As of right now, none of those guys returned to practice, even though the Saints kind of cut practice short, if I'm not mistaken, due to some COVID outbreaks. So I don't know if these guys are going to play or not, but I know for a fact that, if they played, it would be a huge advantage for the running game and a huge advantage for Ian Book. But as far as him starting, I like the opportunity. I hate that it came like this, but I mean, this is what a lot of people wanted. They say give the kid a chance, give him opportunity. A lot of us were upset, including myself, at the fact that he didn't even get opportunity to dress in some of those games. Did we see some great play out of Trevor Siemian to a point where Ian Book shouldn't be dressed? No, but I don't know what that's all about. But now you have to go out there and make sure that this guy's prepared. He's going to get most of the first team reps. He's going to go out there and he's going to execute. Don't know what the Saints are going to do as far as a backup, because if you got Trevor Siemian on the COVID-19 list and Taysom Hill on the COVID-19 list, you're definitely going to need yourself a backup quarterback. So I expect the Saints to probably sign somebody, on the team, because the only person that you have in emergency situations, I want to say, is Alvin Kamara. So I expect for them to sign a quarterback probably in the next day or so. I expect for somebody to come in just to back up Ian Book, and I think the Saints are going to just take it from there. It's unfortunate that the Saints are dealing with these issues. COVID-19 is spreading through the National Football League. I have to say, I'm very disappointed in the National Football League for their handling of this COVID-19 situation. It just continues to add on to the fact that I just feel, as well as several other people feel, that the NFL does not care about their players. They care about the bottom line. I mean, you have an outbreak like this, you want to do what you can to protect your assets. Those assets are your players. They are the most important thing going for your brand. Without the players, you don't have a game, right? So I just think that they need to do better. And some of these new practices that they have, you not getting tested if you don't have any symptoms, if you don't feel like, if you don't have a cough, if you're not sniffling or anything like that, you don't have to take a test. I feel like that's a huge cop out by the National Football League. I just think that, you got all of these outbreaks going on, and, these guys are getting tested consistently. So the numbers are continuing to go up. So it's making the NFL look bad. So to prevent themselves from looking bad, they're saying, hey, only test, if you don't feel good, because for a fact some of those players, a majority of those players, are going to be lying. I mean, you have an opportunity to go out there and play, and you're a valuable asset to your team, or you're having a really good season, or, you want to be out there with your guys. You're not going to say that you've been having symptoms. You're not going to say that, oh, I've been having a cough, or, I lost my sense of smell or taste. You're not going to say anything like that. You're going to try to hide those symptoms in order for you to hit the field. So I think that's a huge cop out by the National Football League. It's basically them trying to hide their hand, because they know for a fact that those players are not going to be truthful in some cases and say, hey, I got COVID, or I feel like I got COVID. That they're going to try to go out there and play and hide that if they feel like they can help their team win. So it's about being on an honor system, but we all know it's the same thing about being hurt. They ask the question, are you hurt or are you injured, right? If a guy, is limping around his house throughout the week, but, he know he can get a pain injection shot to go out there and play, most likely he's going to get that injection shot to go out there and play. And it's the same thing with this COVID situation. This is one of those things where I feel like the NFL needs to protect the players from themselves. All right, they need to protect their players, not try to hide the situation, not try to put it in the hands of the players so they can, they can be absolved of all the situation, but to really go out here and do your due diligence and nip this thing in the bud and have good practices so you don't have an outbreak. Because right now, the NFL is looking extremely bad right now, and they know it. That's the reason why they're trying to cut back down on some of these tests, and it is not a good look. But I want these players to be as healthy as they possibly can. I mean, I know it's late in the season. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's hurt, but you definitely don't want these guys going out there risking their lives, hiding symptoms to go out there and play. I think that it's the responsibility of the National Football League. It's the same thing when it comes to those concussions. So players are going to try to come back in. They're going to try to disguise, their hearing injuries in order for them to get back on the field. Need to be the same way with COVID. You need to protect these guys from themselves, and not because you feel like you're going to get a lawsuit in return. But all in all, I expect for the Saints to continue to battle. I expect for the team to work hard. I expect for the team to go out there and really put their best foot forward to make that playoff push. I mean, you got a little help as of Thursday night football, the Tennessee Titans knocking off the San Francisco 49ers. So that kind of helps the Saints, when it comes to seeding in the NFC. The Saints have to win out. They have to find a way to win this game versus the Miami Dolphins. I don't care if it's by a field goal. I don't care if it's by a safety. You got to find a way to win this game, and you got to be able to try to get to 10 wins, because that's the only way I can see the New Orleans Saints actually making the playoffs, is they get to 10 wins. I just feel like when you look at Philly, you look at the Vikings, I think that this is going to be the only way that they can actually do it. Now, I know towards the end of the season, there are some divisional games, but still, You don't have to be worried about what this team is doing or what that team is doing if you just go out there and win and handle your own business and let the chips fall where they may. And I think the New Orleans Saints can do that. But I am looking forward to seeing what Ian Book can do. I'm just as excited as all Saints fans. It's unfortunate, once again, that it came like this, but at least the kid gets an opportunity to show what he has, and it's an opportunity for us to see if we're looking at the future of the New Orleans Saints. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate your time. Once again, happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you and your family. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. And of course, previous episodes are available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, and also available on the Pigskin Podcast Network. Till next time, all I got to say is